Hello and welcome back to the channel, and this is a bit of a brief little video to go over some of my thoughts from last night's E3 conferences and just show you a sneak peek of a Japan campaign I've just been doing off camera. I thought to myself, why not just show off what I've been doing by myself a little bit in my free time? Not that I have much free time, but, you know, whilst I'm here, why not just do a little bit of everything? But yeah, I wanted to talk, as I say, briefly about E3 last night and the sort of major devs slash publishers that were on show there last night, and just give my thoughts on some of those conferences sort of as they came in. And as I say, I thought why not do it to a little bit of Hearts of Iron 3 and a bit of sort of nice background music. Now I would show like clips or stills from like all of the individual showcases, but yeah, for some of them there wasn't exactly much that was all of that interesting, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, Let's crack on with it. So, I mean, quickly, we'll just talk about this Japan campaign. So, we're in 1940. I've conquered all of China. We just got the event that gives you the Indochina area, and yeah, we're looking pretty good in this campaign. We've got Nanjing and Manchukuo, and then I'm going for more of a sort of Japan controls everything process than when I did it on 10.3. But so far, looking pretty good. We've got a pretty nice industry, actually, and I'm still building that industry up, even as we speak, although it's sort of slowed down a little bit. But I'm building a huge amount of carriers. We've already got out in the field, how many is that? 10 carriers and 3 light carriers. And in our production queue, we've got another 3. We've got another 3 there, so we'll have 16 pre-war. And then we've also got another load that will come online in 1942, which is pretty cool, including some more light carriers. I think it's just 1 light carrier, actually, that will come online as well. So we'll have another... God, how many will that be? That'll be... We've got 10 mainline carriers, plus another 6. So we'll have 20 carriers, which is kind of cool. And then I've got a huge amount of CAGs as well to replace losses. So I've learnt a lot from the other campaigns I've done. We've also got a lot of twin-engine fighters, which I think in the Italy campaign really came in handy. And then we've got a pretty decent naval bombing task force as well. And I'm slowly building up some of our jumping-off islands as well. So, for example, I think it's... yeah, so I've built this one up to a level 3 so that we can have 12 planes in it. Because that's sort of multiples of 3/4 is how I like to build plane units at the moment in the new version. And then I have built up the port a little bit over here. And then the same thing on this island. Anywhere where there was like a level 1 or a level 2 airbase, I've changed that so that it's a level 3 so that we can have much more sort of actual plane units and much better sort of logistical repair facilities. But yeah, we're just sort of getting ready for the sort of move south and the move towards the United States. Now, yeah, on to E3 then. So... Fun times with E3, I must say. It was a bit of a strange set of developers last night. So I don't personally follow any of the publishers that were on last night particularly closely. Tonight, I'm recording this on is it the 13th? I should really know what the date is today. Whatever, the day that Bethesda and Xbox are doing their one, and the PC gaming show. So I'm more interested on today's viewing than I am on last night's. But I did want to just round out my thoughts, because I always look at E3 every year. I mean, it is obviously just the video game advertisement, conference, but let's just take it through. So Ubisoft, now I'm not their biggest fan anyway. I don't really play Assassin's Creed games. I haven't played one in a long time, not since maybe Brotherhood. I'm throwing that name out there because it's the last one I remember. But yeah, I haven't played one of their games in a while. I know Black Flag was pretty good. I think I played a bit of that one maybe as well. But I never, I didn't own that. I think I borrowed it from someone. And it was fine. Nah. I know that they've got a couple of things on the go at Ubisoft that I was interested in. So I expected something from Beyond Good and Evil 2. And I didn't see that. So immediately the only game I was sort of moderately interested in wasn't there. And I know there's this Skull and Bones pirate game, which again, I don't think that was there. I don't remember it last night. And I didn't write up my notes, So yeah, I thought that was a bit weird. I thought that was sort of what they were going to be dredging up, because they showed that years ago now and sort of nothing happened, which is bizarre. But hey, whatever. But what they did show, so Riders Republic, it looked good. Like the game itself looked like pretty. The physics and the mechanics seem to look quite good. I quite like sort of skating stroke like racing games of that nature. Obviously Skate is a pretty cool series. I didn't find the actual like skating / snowboarding bit of it particularly interesting. I thought that was, I mean, it just looks like every other skating game. I mean, it's difficult to reinvent the wheel with that. That's just how it looks. But I did like the downwards like bike mechanics. I think all of that stuff and those courses looked quite interesting. So yeah, that caught my attention. And then I also was thinking, like, was it an open world map? It sort of hinted at there being like a central hub maybe, and then there was different world spaces that you could just maybe explore if you wanted to. That could be a novel idea. I can't say, I mean, I'm really scraping the barrel here, but yeah, that one looked okay. Avatar game? Sure. Pandora. I've heard this one rumored for a while. It was, what was it called? Something of Pandora. This shows the level of impact it made on me. But yeah, it looked good. You know, I couldn't tell exactly if that was like the gameplay images of that game, or was that like it looked almost pre-rendered stroke a little bit of like the gameplay models. So I mean, it looked fine. I think Avatar is one of those franchises, or I don't really want to call it a franchise. Avatar is like a thing, is quite what's the word I'm looking for? It's like beige paint to me. Like, it's cool. I quite like some of the design aspects, but there's not a lot of depth to it. It's just sort of there. And also, they were showing like the gameplay of it, and I really hope you get to play as the humans and in the mech suits. Like, that would be the only reason I'd want to buy that. I'm a massive Aliens fanboy, and obviously Avatar pretty much rips most of a lot of its design stuff is just a direct copy of Aliens and sort of some of the Colonial Marines look. So I look at that and I think that looks fine. Could be a good game. I want to know at least more about it. I think I don't want to call it a movie tie-in game, because it's not really a movie tie-in game, because it's not come out of a movie. But anything that's based on a movie like that, I always sort of get a little bit nervous that not every game can be the Kong game from all those years ago. And then finally for Ubisoft, the Mario Rabbids rumours were correct. So that's good. Hooray. That's great for anyone that likes those games. I think that's a little bit left of field though. I didn't expect the Mario Rabbids game to be getting a reboot. I mean, I saw the rumours and I was like, oh, okay, that's good if you like those games. I'm sure you're going to be very happy with that. And hey, they were right. Those games are real. So if you like the Mario Rabbids games, then more power to you. I say that's good. It sounds like they're going in more of like an action sort of move, so a move away from like the XCOM tactical side into more of an action-based thing. I don't think that's the problem with the game. I think the problem with the game is the actual Rabbids. I can't stand them, so therefore I will never buy that game. Because I really like Mario games. Like I've played like all of the Super Mario games, and I've even played some like the RPG ones, like Paper Mario, and well, old Paper Mario. New Paper Mario isn't really an RPG because that's what they've decided to do with it. But you get my point. The Mario Luigi games, I've played some of those. So yeah, I'm always up for Nintendo stuff, and I'm glad that they're at least doing another game of that. I hope that they maybe improve on some of the things that people didn't like about it so much, because I know that there were things that people didn't like about that other game. But I honestly just think if it didn't have the Rabbids in it, it would just be immensely better. But instead we have to be tortured with the shitty rabbids that are like minions. And well, actually, I shouldn't say that. Minions are like rabbids because I think rabbids came first, didn't they? But my point is that it's just not, that doesn't grab me. I don't look at that and go, yay, that's a good game. I want that. But hey, I'm glad that it's coming out, and I'm glad that they're doing it in a new series. So yeah, Ubisoft I was really disappointed in overall. The actual presentation itself was pretty lackluster. But I'm not the target audience for them. Far Cry, I'm not bothered about. I saw the trailer for that and I thought that was shite. It's just another Far Cry game, and then they're dredging up all of the old villain characters for some sort of season pass DLC thing. Whoop-de-doo. You know, oh, has anyone ever told you the definition of insanity? Oh, let's keep using the same thing from years ago to try and market stuff. Great, well done. And then finally, yeah, the Rainbow Six stuff. I'm not big on the Rainbow Six series of games or anything of the Tom Clancy-like stuff, so it doesn't really drag, you know, any sort of positive response from me. But hey, if you're into those games, then, you know, what they showed was probably interesting. The Extraction game just looks very bland. I don't think there's anything about that I sort of go, you know, it just looks the same as every other sort of game of that nature. Why would you play that instead of something like Deep Rock Galactic? I'm not sure, because at least with Deep Rock Galactic there's like more enemy variety. So yeah, I'm not sure about that. It's not my go-to, let's put it that way. I'm not interested in it as a concept. So now that I've bashed on Ubisoft for a while, you know, and done that. Also, they treat their employees pretty badly as well, I think. I mean, that's an industry standard, so, you know, I can hardly call that out for just them, but yeah, we don't like that. Bring the socialism. Everyone should unionize and then make for better working conditions for all. Right, there's my propaganda out the way. So, Devolver Digital. Now, this was great. Their conference showpiece things are always really good, and they nailed the humour. It was a good presentation itself. Made me laugh a few times. Light on games, but I'm actually fine with that for them. I was more off the back of Ubisoft, where it was light on gameplay and sort of light on much else. Yeah, Devolver Digital's was a breath of fresh air. But a few games I sort of picked out was the Phantom Abyss, which is the one where it's like almost like a temple running game, and there's lots of obstacles and traps and stuff, and then it shows phantoms of other players that have almost, you know, that have died before you, which I think is really cool. I think that's a cool idea. So I like that. That's, you know, I'm sure that's been done before, but it looked fun. I'll take that on board. Wizard with a Gun. So that looks interesting, and I got some Don't Starve vibes from it. I can't remember if it's the same developer or not, but it looks, the art style of it looks fairly similar. But I personally am a little bit over this sort of top-down game, roguelike, retro-y, well, not retro-y, like, just the style with this sort of gameplay where it's, yeah, I can't really describe it. I should really know what I'm talking about on this, but you know what I'm trying to say. This top-down sort of style of thing, and there's been a lot of games that have come out over the last few years that have done this, and I'm just getting to the point where I'm like, there's just so many of these. It's a really clogged marketplace. And this looks interesting, you know, and I think you can play it with like other people as well. But it's another multiplayer game. Like, it's just, there's so many multiplayer games out there that are doing something very similar to one another. Like, is this really all we've got in the world? Just games like this? Because surely there's other options for stuff in, you know, gameplay wise that we can get involved in. But anyway, that's just a mild rant. But overall, it looked good. I thought that looked like an interesting one. Of all the games that I've seen of that sort of style, you know, I quite like the art style. I quite like the characters and things. I like the little animated segment at the start of it. And their Devolver Digital, as I say, their showcase was quite good because it had this premium purchase joke running through, which was taking the piss out of the Xbox exclusive thing. So hey, I'm all for taking the piss out of Xbox. But game of the night last night, I'm moving on to, is called Inscription, which looked great. It's like some sort of card game stroke, like escape room almost, it seemed to feel like, sort of vibe that they were going on with. So I was well on board for that. The gothic-y sort of style in places mixed with some of the character like design models for some of the other like enemies. I'm all for it. I'm on board. So yeah, high praise for that one. Looked really original. I'm sure there's a million games like it, but to me, it looked fun. So I'm on board with that one. And then finally, so we've done Devolver, who I think they did well overall. I'm not going to score like these presentations because I just think that's pointless. But I think they did well. Their one was fairly engaging, and some of the games they showed were at least interesting and somewhat original. But yeah, moving on to Gearbox. So I am not the biggest Gearbox fan, I should say right from the start. I still haven't forgiven Gearbox for Aliens Colonial Marines. So yeah, like don't sort of get me started on that. But yeah, not a fan at all of what they had to show last night. I mean, it's a video game conference, and you've spent probably the better part of 15 to 20 minutes of a 30-minute slot talking about a film. And also, what makes it worse is it's not even like they got people like directly on the film to talk about it. They got Randy Pitchford Randy Pitchford to talk about it. Like, and you have to listen to him for a long period of time. It just felt like one big ego trip for him. Like, oh, I'm doing a film. Great, good for you. I'm glad that you're doing a film, and I'm sure that if you really like the Borderlands universe, you're really excited for it. I questioned some of the casting decisions on it. Like, he said that Kevin Hart is going to be a really good action star. Okay, jury's out. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Borderlands fan anyway, but my frustration is so it's a game conference, and you spend the majority of your showcase not talking about games, you spend it talking about a film, and then what makes it worse is you don't actually show really anything from the film, you just talk to a couple of people. I mean, the director, I think his name was Eli, who I think did the Knock Knock film with Keanu Reeves from a few years ago. I think he does like horror films, or like sort of horror films, but like in the UK we grade films as like a 15. He does like the 15 age range horror films that are, you know, not the mega gory ones. I think he was also in Inglourious Bastards as well. I think the Tarantino film. But anyway, now you know, that's all well and good. My point with him is he did not look like he wanted to be there. There was one bit where Randy was talking, and like him in the background, his eyes just sort of glazed over, like, I don't want to be talking on this. But anyway, that made me chuckle. But yeah, just bizarre decision making from them as a studio. I mean, so they didn't really show any games. They showed the new Borderlands spin-off game. I think that's fine. That, you know, if you like Borderlands, then I'm sure that you're going to be into that. And they also, this is what frustrated me the most. So I really like Homeworld as a series. Like, the Homeworld games are really good strategy games. And they said Homeworld 3 is in development. And I was like, oh, is that it? That's all we get? Just, it's in development. I mean, fine. I'm glad that it's in development, but you could just show anything. You know, you've got a 30-minute showcase, about 20 minutes of which is film and, like, just your filler thing about working at Gearbox University. So, like, you have 10 minutes dedicated to games, and you have Homeworld 3 that you're saying is in development. You could show literally anything. Why don't you show some concept art? You know, just show something. You know, make it slightly more interesting other than it's in development, and then just have a guy talking. Oh, and then you spend 20 minutes talking about things that aren't related to video games. I mean, sure, Borderlands, the film, is related to video games just by nature of the fact that it's a film based on a video game, but it's not a video game. I just, Gearbox, my brain just can't comprehend. Like, I thought Ubisoft had a bad night. I thought after watching them that, like, yeah, that'll be probably the worst conference of the entire thing. But yeah, Gearbox, you well done. You're always raising the bar for mediocrity, because my god, that was shocking. But yeah, that's my thoughts really on all of that. It bizarre night last night. I often find the night where Ubisoft is on is often bizarre, and sometimes I don't even bother watching it, but I thought I would this time round, just because I felt like it was maybe a good idea, and I'm a bit disappointed that that's all we got, is literally just that. There was nothing else of note, really, that entire evening, and yeah, hey, good on Devolver Digital. Like, you somewhat saved that night with some of your games. As I say, Inscription looks really cool. I would highly recommend. I mean, I don't have a massive audience of people, but I really think if you are watching this, go watch Inscription and give it a little go, because I think it looked like a good little trailer. I mean, the game could be shit. I mean, I'm just basing it off a minute and a half of footage, but it looked more interesting than 90% of the other games that were shown. But yeah, as you can see, Japan campaign that I'm doing off camera. Now, eventually, at some point, we're going to want to do an actual Japan campaign. And, well, I imagine that we will do something sort of moderately similar to this. Germany campaign will be back on Monday. We've got some more episodes recorded, and the next episode of the Empire campaign will be up on Tuesday. And then there might be, this will go up today, this video, but there might also be a sort of video today which is doing like a my predictions for Bethesda stroke Xbox, but more Bethesda, because, I mean, actually, you know what, this is how we'll end the video. So, Bethesda, I think, have got to show Starfield this time. I mean, Fallout 76, I will give them credit for continuing to update it. It's a better game than it was on launch. I mean, as low a bar as that is, it is. I mean, I've played it since launch, and I've made a new character sort of since the settlements, like the settler update, where they added back in human NPCs. And, you know, it's a better game than it was, and the dialogue isn't that bad in it. But yeah, they need something, and I'm thinking that Starfield really is the only thing that they're gonna. Yeah, I think it's the only option. And then for the PC show later tonight, I'm hoping that maybe we'll get a Vampire the Masquerade sort of Bloodlines thing, but we'll see. We'll see what our thoughts are on that. But anyway, I will speak to you all soon, and hopefully you enjoy just getting a very quick sort of sneak peek at my Japan campaign. As you can see, I'm building a lot of naval units, and because of the way that the army sort of works in this now, I should already just say, you get a lot of units via event now as Japan. So the need to sort of build up army in the same way as, like, for example, Germany is not as extreme, because you get a lot of units via events. Like a lot of units, actually. It's kind of shocking. But yeah, we've got a very experienced army after the battle in China. Although I don't know what happened to Yamashita. Ah, there he is. But yeah, he's a level 6 commander, which is kind of cool. I like the fact that he's got a lot of supply bonuses. But yeah, I just thought I'd show you quickly what the Japan campaign was looking like, and the fact that we've got all of the carriers in the world. So I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of the Germany campaign, or maybe even my sort of little prediction showcase for Bethesda. So thanks again, bye bye.